We're back, and we had such great intentions to have episodes lined up to release while we were on our trips. And then a lot's happened in between, and it didn't happen. But we're back now.
Yeah, we're alive still and somewhat well.
Mostly. I mean, you went to the ER, but that's beside the point.
3/4 of us are well.
Yeah. But hey, you don't want to get into that.
I just real quick, since you said I went to the ER, I have a superficial blood clot in my leg. It is not life-threatening. I am fine. It's just painful.
But before that, you did walk a few marathons in the theme parks, which is what we're talking about.
Plantar fasciitis, which then resulted in me resting, which then resulted in the blood clot.
Well, that's why we wear Crocs all the time, to help.
Yeah, so now I know.
Yeah.
Wear Crocs to the parks, not tennis shoes.
Yep. All right, well, we're jumping into our recaps. We're going to kind of do faster recaps and then do our top 5s for each of the parks that we visited. I think it's kind of the plan. But before...
Today will be Universal. So our last episode was Universal. And since we're season pass holders, today is going to be a recap of Universal.
We're going to jump back on Disney. Don't worry. It'll be back. On our way down was sort of exciting to the airport, though. Everything was lined up. We were making good time. The kids were packed up.
We actually left on time to get to the airport. Our flight was like at 8. And so we had to leave our house at 4:30, I think. Mm-hmm. And we left at like 4:20, which never happens.
In point of order, we woke up at 4:30 and we were planning to be and were in Universal Studios this same day. We weren't
waking up at 4:30. We were on the road at 4:30.
We were on the road at 4:30.
I don't remember. It's all a blur.
We woke up bright and early, and we were going, and this was a travel day and a park day. So we were traveling to the park and going into the park.
The most important fact of the day. Do you remember?
I mostly remember.
You at least remembered on the day. It was my birthday.
It was your birthday too. Yeah. Yes, it was your birthday. That was a heck of a day.
It was.
That was a long day. So we woke up bright and early. So we were close to the airport. We're getting there. We're making good time. And then
we go under one of the overpasses in Everett. And all of us we hear a thwack.
Really loud.
Like so loud. And I turn around, I look at the boys. I'm like, did you guys kick something? And they're like, nope. I'm like looking at my windshield. And I already have a rock chip that I just had fixed. And I was like, there's no new rock chips.
Yeah, we were checking
the windshield. That one's been there
forever.
And I was like, oh no, I have a moonroof that I never, ever use. Daniel was driving. I open the cover because I never have the cover open. It's always closed.
And true to our Disney podcast tradition, there was a nice magical jingle when you opened it, which was unfortunately not so magical.
And I look up and I can see that the glass is cracked. Like it is in millions of shards, but it's holding together. But like Daniel said, you could hear a jingle. So then you know that there's a hole because some of the glass is on top of the cover that I've just opened. So I barely opened it and I stuck my hand up and I could push it. So I was like, it moved. And I was like, oh no. So I close it and I start Googling auto body repair shops.
Now we live in the Pacific Northwest, which is, if you didn't know, it rains quite a bit. And we were going to an airport which had no covered parking, which was fun.
Yeah.
With the intention of leaving our car there for the week, which is what we normally do. That wasn't going to work this time. And it was early, and it was earlier than all the auto body shops. It was earlier than their opening time.
Yeah, so 6:30 we got to the airport, and Daniel got him and the boys' bags checked in. Then I went in and checked my bag, and Daniel took off for the auto body shop. It's about 7 that he gets to the first auto body shop, and they're like, we're not even open.
And not only did they say we're not even open, I had to open the door. I called their number from the lobby because no one was there. The shop door was open. I called the number. I could hear the lobby phone ringing. Nothing was happening. So eventually I went back into the shop itself and found someone there, and I had to go walk to the back because they were working on a car and kind of wave at them as I've got my Star Wars backpack on. And I'm sure my Mario Brothers hat and hey, and they were unable to help us. They gave us a recommendation to another place. Same thing. Although their door was locked, I could see someone was in the shop. I called their number. They said, the person that's in the shop is going to come out and talk to you. He was like, we can't have you leave the car here for a week unless you're for sure wanting us to fix it. And I can't get you a quote right away. And by now we're running out of time. So I don't know did you just get checked in?
Yeah. So we got checked in. We went through security, and when I checked my bag, I told the attendant what was going on and asked them when the gate closed. And they're like, the latest that we can close this gate is 7:50. And she's like, tell the people at the gate what's going on, and they will hold the gate for your husband. So we get there, and I immediately go up to the desk, and I'm like, okay. Oh, not immediately. I'm sorry. We had to do a bathroom break. I get some water bottles and an apple juice. And then I got to go to the desk and tell them what was going on. And they said, okay, we will let everyone know that we have to hold the door for Daniel. And everyone will know that so that we don't close it on him.
Which is fun. I've been on the other end of that on an airplane where they're like, we're waiting for one more person for us to leave. But I've never been that person until this trip.
So this is my birthday too. And so we had a very early start. Daniel had some presents wrapped for me in the car, and the boys had made me some cards. It was very sweet, very nice. And I thought, an early start to my birthday, not too bad. And then that, I was just like, really? Just... So what happened at that auto body shop?
That one, the guy came out and he was really sympathetic. He was a nice guy, but he was like, you can't leave the car here. I can't give you an estimate. And he was like, if we could get an estimate and you agreed to it, then maybe we could do it. And I was like, at this point, I had almost zero time left. And so I was like, do you have plastic or something? And he's all, hang on. So he went and got some plastic sheeting and some tape, taped it up. I feel bad. He cut his hand while doing it too. But he taped everything up and sent me on my way. So we went. And
you texted me that you were on your way back, and I said, park in the main parking lot. At this point, money doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the bougie parking lot.
We're not trying to save money right now. We are trying to get you on this flight, because I asked them what the other flight availability was, and their next flight, I think, was like at 1 p.m. So 5 hours later into San Diego. And I was like, well, that's not going to work very well, but if that's what it comes to, that's what we'll do. So you texted me, and I was like, park in the main parking lot. And I've already texted and called my mom, and they will figure out a way to come switch our cars for us. So we don't have to worry about leaving our car the whole week with just tarp on it. The minutes are counting down. We boarded, I think, at like 7:35. And I reminded them again that you were they started boarding at like 7:35 or maybe 7:30, and I waited and was kind of like, maybe if I wait, that'll help hold things up. And so finally at like 7:45 or 7:40, I went over. And so we finally boarded. They're like, oh, you're that family. Okay, good to know.
Oh, you're that family.
We will hold the door for Daniel until 7:50, but we can't hold it any longer. So we get on, and I am just sitting there, and I'm just praying. I'm like, please get on this flight. Please get on this flight. Please get on this flight. And it is 7:47, and Daniel walks on to the plane.
Yep, fastest I've made it through security before, which it is a lot faster without having to deal with children.
Yeah,
it turns out, but still, just barely made it.
Yeah, 3 minutes to spare. And I was supposed to get a seat without the kids since it was my birthday. But since Daniel had been through that whole ordeal, I was like, you sit in that seat without the kids and I will manage them.
But then we made it down, and we're going to start our recap now.
To all Disney adults and morbidly curious casuals, we proudly present our spectacular festival pageant of theme park ramblings and peculiar opinions in thousands of seconds of average quality sounds of Mice and Matterhorns podcast.
So I'm your host, Daniel.
And I am Shannon.
You're also a host. And this is Of Mice and Matterhorns, where we revel alongside and reveal the mystery of Disney adults.
And apparently Universal, too.
For the first time in my life, and I've lived down in Southern California, I was going to say most of my life, but I'm getting to the tipping point at some point here.
Yeah, you've done a third of your life up here.
But I never stayed at a hotel near Universal Studios, and you booked us a nice one.
Yes, we had the Hilton at Universal City, I think is what it's called. We were able to check in a little bit early when we got there, which was really nice, and able to get situated in our room before heading into the park. And I booked through AAA because I really like we using the discounts we have. Like I like using Costco, I like using AAA to get those extra discounts. And it had said a room with a view, but I didn't know what the view was of. And so we got into the room, opened up the curtains, and we were on the 12th floor.
I think so, yeah.
And there was Universal Studios.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
You could see Hogsmeade, you could see the giant minion, the Waterworld stage, like everything. It was really, really cool.
And then the next morning when we were, because the park opens a little bit later in the wintertime, we were like waiting for the park to open, and you could see the flame in Hogsmeade. So they were like testing out something. They were shooting out the flame. I was like, that's really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah. So it was just really neat to have that view of the park.
I'd never stayed at a hotel where you actually had the bellhop take the bags.
Yeah.
And he would not let me do it. Like he was like, you can take the suitcases, but I'm not going to give you the cart. And so at that point, I wasn't going to argue with him since we were on the 12th floor. So,
and I was so very glad that I had remembered to bring money for tips that time. Yeah, but the bellhop was great. He, our oldest and I went up with the bellhop and the luggage, and then Daniel and our youngest, because our youngest was asleep in the car, parked the car. We self-parked. We did not want to do valet. And he had some great insight and tips, was excited for our trip for us. So great service. Love the Hilton. I've never stayed at a Hilton before. So that was a fun new experience for us. And we're, before our annual pass is up, we're trying to figure out how to tack on a stay at the Hilton one night.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah. So recommend it. It's a little pricier than the Sheraton, but it is a shorter walk to Universal if you decide to do the walk, which we ended up walking every time. We never took the shuttle.
Do the shuttle. It wasn't bad at all.
Which one time I really wish we could have used the shuttle, but I didn't know where it was.
Yeah. So we got settled in, and then we headed to the park.
Yep.
And by this time it was afternoon-ish, I think. So we knew that we were having like a day and a half, and this was going to be our half day. And you'd had a heck of a birthday already with the car situation, and then travel, and then getting settled into the hotel. And then we walked the red carpet and made it in to Universal Studios Hollywood. And I'm just prefacing this, the real bummer here, and I really want us to go again because you still have not seen the Waterworld show. It was closed for refurbishment.
And we missed it in November.
And I even made you watch the movie beforehand.
I was not one I plan to watch again.
Yeah, so we hopped in for the afternoon. Right?
Yeah. And we headed right into Hogsmeade.
We did, because we didn't get to see much of that last time.
Yeah. We got to see some of it, but not near as much time as I would like to spend there. And so since it was my birthday, I had been clear with the boys that I'm going to pick, and I'm usually not one that's like, we're doing what I want. But our kids, and primarily one, can be overbearing with what he wants. And so just to make it simpler for everyone, I just said, we're doing this because it's my birthday, when in reality, we all wanted to do it. It just made the choice a lot easier.
When I went, the time I went before we all went, I had bought one of the interactive wands, so we were able to all kind of take turns and try the different magic tricks. And I had 3D printed a wand holster, so I felt pretty cool with that on my hip. But yeah.
And then the boys kept trying to pull it out of your holster and running off with it.
Yeah, there's different spots that you can use the interactive wands. It uses infrared lighting, and you can make different effects happen throughout the park. So it was a cool way to experience it.
So I did a lot of those, and then we went through the shops. The shops were a lot of fun. They had pretty much the same merchandise, but just the theming of that land is so detailed that each shop is just fun to go through because it feels like you're in a different shop, even though the merchandise is the same. So the candy shop is obviously different. And
that's
then
my favorite.
The wand shop is definitely catered more towards wands. But still, it's just fun because of the theming of the land.
And you found some cool stuff. Like you got a mug last time that you really liked. There was that sweatshirt you liked, but they didn't have your size, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, they had spells, like the motion of the spells in gold on a black sweatshirt, and absolutely loved it, but they only had like small and extra small. Yeah. So that was not an option.
That was cool. We got to go on Flight of the Hippogriff for the first time for you all. To me, that's really similar to Gadget's Go Coaster in Disneyland. It's a small kiddie coaster, but our children loved it, especially our oldest.
He's tall enough to do single rider. And so was it 4 times he did
He
single
went on
rider?
it a bunch, and he asked me to not go on it specifically so that he could go on it again. Again, this is sort of the kids, him especially, wanting agency to do stuff on their own,
Yep.
and that was fine.
Yep.
So that was a cool opportunity to let him do that. Then we did go and do the Forbidden Journey, which is the big ride there.
Yeah, you and our oldest did. I did not do it.
Did you not
this
end
time.
up doing it this time?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It makes me pretty sick, so I opted to not.
Yeah.
I love the line though, so I was happy to walk through the line because the line is just amazing. And then as we were leaving the ride, once you and our oldest was done, a guy was standing there with his family throwing up in a garbage can. I'm like, and that is why I do not go on this ride.
Yeah, the line it's really cool. It's like you're walking through Hogwarts to the point where like you're through the stone corridors and everything, but there's a part where you go through the greenhouse too. It's really cool. Like, and as I get older, I'm getting more motion sick. So I did close my eyes on that ride when it got to the screen portions, but the idea is cool because it mixes a bunch of stuff, but yeah. It's a bit rough.
And there's a lot of, going back to the line, there's a lot of talking portraits like there is in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's just really neat to you kind of see a story happening as you're going through the line.
Yeah, they fleshed out that you're right. The theming of that land is really good.
Mm-hmm. And then we grabbed a snack. And I had seen this online, and now I have to remember the name of it.
Sticky toffee pudding?
Toffee pudding. It was so good. So that was kind of like my birthday treat for me. And then we got a frozen butterbeer, which I can't remember why we got the frozen because I really wanted to try the hot. And I know it was warmer that day than what we were used to because we had just come from a snowstorm the week before.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 67 degrees or something. And it was so we might have gotten frozen because we just weren't used to that kind of heat.
Which in the sticky toffee pudding, which it's, toffee flavored, almost bread pudding that's caramelized. Yep. I think that might be my favorite dessert that we've ever had there. Mm-hmm. That I think is probably the top dessert that I have had at Universal Studios Hollywood, which they're not as big a food park as the Disney parks, but that was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Then I have that we went on Flight of the Hippogriff again. So
yes,
our oldest really pulled for that one. Now, we were hoping that there was going to be Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year decorations, which there was some, but when we showed up, we missed it. It hadn't happened yet because now they're doing Lunar New Year stuff.
Yes, and I even emailed them before our trip to say, when are the dates of your Lunar New Year? So this is my bone to pick with Universal Studios, and I have become part of their survey group because I was so bugged by this. They don't announce their events. They announce their scary nights. I can't remember what those are called.
The horror nights, Halloween horror nights.
They announced those, but the Lunar New Year, they did not announce. I still cannot find dates for the Lunar New Year.
And it's currently going on right now.
It is currently going on right now. So when I emailed them before our trip, they said, we don't have dates yet. And I was like, Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year is in 3 weeks. How do you not know the dates that Universal is going to celebrate?
Now, they had some merch. They had some minimal decorations.
Hello Kitty was not in her red dress.
No.
I even had a Hello Kitty Chinese New Year shirt.
I had a Hello Kitty shirt, but it was a race car one. So that's not
So anyways, that's my bone to pick with Universal is they do not cater to out-of-state pass holders or park goers at all. And that's disappointing because there's a bigger market there. But
yeah, because it would be nice to be able to plan around some of the events that they have. But we did go see the Kung Fu Panda show, which I'd never seen.
Yeah, that was pretty good. The boys liked it. They're very excited for Kung Fu Panda 4. I made them all watch. Well, they've seen all 3 of the movies before, but it had been a while. So leading up to this trip, I made sure we saw all 3 of them, and I reignited their love for Kung Fu Panda. Yeah. And I was so very glad. And so then they were excited for the show, and they're excited for the new movie, which I absolutely love. So I was glad that they liked that.
Now, how did you like the show?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was fine too. It was nothing special.
Yeah.
It it replaced the Shrek 4D show, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, okay.
Which was too bad. But yeah, to me, this one was just sort of okay. But again, the kids really liked it. I would not, if I went to Universal Studios with just you or by myself, I would never go see that show again, probably.
The seats move, and so I had to move out of the moving seats into stable seats because I was starting to feel sick. So that's kind of the theme of Universal this trip. I still love the park, but I tried a lot more of the rides and found out that I do not do well on their rides.
No, I dropped all my notes. Universal rides tend, at least on the West Coast, tend to lean a little too heavily on the screens, in my opinion. But Jurassic World doesn't. But our kids didn't want to go on it, so...
I know. I was disappointed. I wanted to go on that. We went on The Mummy, which
the next
I did
day.
not like. And that wasn't because of screens. That one was just creepy.
The boys really wanted to go to that dinosaur playland. It's just a Jurassic World themed playground. So we went and hung out there for a while. I don't know where you went.
I can't remember. I don't know if I went to try to go get my free coffee from Starbucks.
You might have been looking at merch too.
Okay.
So at some point you were looking
I went
at
to go
different
look for
shops.
merch. That's right. And then I was going to try to get my free coffee, and then it turns out your free Starbucks coffee, the locations
coffee.
inside of Universal Studios are not eligible.
Which we found out later that there was one on City Walk.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would have worked, but
yeah.
So we went. They'd been wanting to play there forever. Technically, our oldest was too tall for it, but there was kids taller than him there too. No one really cared.
So I eventually found you guys, and so we're like, "What can we get in before the park closes?" Because I think it was like 5:30, and we saw that there was no line for the Mario Kart ride. So we ran into Super Nintendo World.
Did we do the Mario Kart ride?
And we got on the Mario Kart ride, and I got my Boo ears that I have been
forgot that
wanting.
we did that time. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
So I got my Boo ears, and Daniel, you got your Peach wristband.
Did I get the band that night? I did. Yeah. So I could start the day. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that ride. It's a really good ride, and we'll get into that more later. But we
really
enjoyed
good.
that. The boys loved looking through the shop. Yeah, we had a really good time. Spent most of it in Hogsmeade, but had a really good time catching a few other things in the park that evening too. So that was a
tiring day.
A full day. We had a lot in it.
Yeah.
It ended up being a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then we went and had your birthday dinner on City Walk.
You're going to have to talk about this because I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. So I'd made a reservation.
You sound like me.
I had made a reservation. I'd made a reservation for Toothsome's Chocolate Emporium, which is sort of a Willy Wonka-esque themed restaurant, steampunk restaurant that is very much oriented towards desserts. But they have dinner dishes too. I thought it would be a fun thing to do for Shannon's birthday, so we went there and we ate.
Yeah, and they have brunch all day, and that was that was part of the reason we had decided to do it, and I was very excited for it. But I am dairy intolerant. And so when I got there, they're like, "Do you have any food allergies or intolerances?" And I was like, "Well, I'm dairy intolerant." And I said, are there any items on the brunch menu that I can eat? And she went and checked with the kitchen, and none. I could not eat any of the brunch items. So I don't know what was in it, or it must be the mix that they use for the waffles and for the French toast. That must have been dairy based.
My challah French toast, what was it? Sandwich was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a grilled chicken something or other. And it was supposed to have a butter lemon sauce. And so they substituted out the butter for, I'm guessing, oil. And I was really worried that it was going to be dry. It was not. It was very good. And I think I got fries.
Yeah, and the asparagus.
And our youngest decided he loved asparagus. And it was very good asparagus. So I will give him that. And he ate about half of my asparagus. And I got a really fun drink. I don't normally get alcoholic drinks. I'm not one that likes alcohol really. But this one looked really fun.
This one had a fruit roll-up over the whole thing.
Roll-up as a cover. And the straw went through it into the drink. I don't remember the name of it. But it was pretty tasty, and the fruit roll-up was good.
Our youngest was so jealous.
Yes. And I was like, sorry, you can't. I think I let him have a corner of the fruit roll-up because I'm like, that's fine. It's just sugar. Yeah, so it was really good. Oh, and you got a shake from there.
We did get a shake.
How was the shake?
The shake was pretty good. I mean, it was a milkshake. Okay. They have incredible looking milkshakes. Like if you go to their website, they're absolutely out of this world. Like the garnishes are full slices of cake. The problem is we got it after dinner. So our youngest and I shared it. We were both so full, it was the problem, that we had a hard time finishing it. But it was a good milkshake, and it was fun, and it came in a little souvenir cup that we got to keep too. So we've got that.
Yeah. So, and then at the end of the dinner, or towards the end of the dinner, our oldest decided he had had some kind of accident, even though he hadn't, and we couldn't convince him otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fine, I will take him back, because Daniel and our youngest were finishing their milkshake. And we start walking, and our oldest goes, my back hurts so bad. And I was just like,
happy birthday.
All right. So I had him climb on my back, and I gave him a piggyback all the way back to our hotel. And this includes a little bit of a hill going upstairs and over a sky bridge that goes over a 4-lane road, and then back downstairs.
Needless to say, we were all very tired by the end of the night, and I think slept pretty well in those Hilton beds.
Yes, those Hilton beds were nice.
It was a significant step up from what we're used to, I think.
Yes. And the fact that the park did not open until 10 o'clock the next morning.
Oh, that helped.
I was a little bit disappointed that we would have to start so late. But after that long day, I was so glad we got to sleep in the next day.
It gave us enough time for me and the boys to go to a local Asian-owned donut shop, which I miss so much from Southern California. And we got Kay's Donuts. It's 3 minutes from the park if you're in the area. Just wonderful. Affordable, big donuts.
And you picked me up a breakfast sandwich because I didn't want a donut. Mm-hmm. And the breakfast sandwich was so good and huge. It was huge.
Yeah. They were cheap too.
And we saw that as we drove in, because we knew that our hotel did not, they had a breakfast, but we had seen online reviews that it was kind of pricey for what it was. And so when we were driving in, we had seen that shop, and you were like, oh, we might want to try that place. Mm-hmm. So I'm very glad you did.
Yep. So we busted in the next day. Our oldest wanted to do the Simpsons ride. He was thrilled about it, been looking forward to it. No idea why. He's never seen the Simpsons. And I've never been on it either, but I do hold a bit of a grudge because it took the place of the Back to the Future ride, which was one of my favorite rides as a kid. But we went on it, and it was a lot of fun. It was fine, but it was fun. It was funny to see him laugh at some of the Simpsons jokes that were a little darker. It was funny. He recognized the bits where they were spoofing Disneyland, because at one part we crash into what is essentially Pirates of the Caribbean, but they're all dinosaurs instead of pirates.
And the youngest and I did not go on that. Our youngest did not want to. And I had seen some reviews online of saying, if you get motion sick, this will make you motion sick. And so I was like, I'm a hard pass on that. And so we went and looked through some shops, and then we went on Secret Life of Pets. And that is such a cute ride. Also a very good queue. The queue is going through an apartment building on the inside. And a lot of the doors have the mail slots, so you can push the little mail slot and look into a room. So it's just a lot of fun, and our youngest just loved doing that, and we enjoyed the ride a lot.
Yeah, Secret Life of Pets and Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge are their two newest rides, and I would say they're two top tier dark rides, like Disney level dark rides. They are very, very well done, and both queues are really well done. We got popcorn and pizza I have written down.
Yes. So we finished our ride, and the youngest was hungry because he'd only eaten a donut for breakfast, which I tried to get him to eat part of my breakfast sandwich, because I'm like, you need some protein. And he's like, no, I'm full. And I'm like, I know you're going to be hungry. And lo and behold, he was hungry. So we got popcorn. And then before we headed down to the lower lot, we decided to grab pizza because we knew the lower lot did not have pizza.
Force our oldest to eat something. He was furious.
And he was not having it. And we were like, okay, ultimatum, you don't get to do anything until you've eaten. And so he ate.
Yeah. And then did we go straight to Toadstool Cafe after that?
We did not. So we went and did some stuff. You thankfully had did you have the QR code, or did you have
I had the website saved. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were able to get us a reservation for a little bit later. So
yeah, the way they do reservations is weird with Toadstools. You need to you go to an external site, and there's a QR code to get to it, but you can technically find it elsewhere online. So I did. I think it's geo locked technically. I don't know if that's the correct term, but you have to be within the vicinity of the park for it to actually work. But I had the link, so I was able to get us reservations.
Yeah, like I was just trying to look up the Three Broomsticks menu through the app, and it told me I didn't have access to that location.
That's
So
weird.
it's like their whole park is that way. But you had done a reservation, I think, for 12:30.
Okay.
And so we were able to do some different of the challenges with the little bands because you had a band.
That's right. And
Yeah. So
I complained last time about how it was annoying that they lock a bunch of the features behind a $40 wristband, and I still dislike that. Let me tell you, having that wristband though, I had so much fun running around, and I was pushing my kids out of the way to try to get the coin blocks. It really does enhance the whole experience. So when we go next, you'll have to get them, and they work at all Universal parks around the world that have Super Mario World.
yeah. So I think we did all the challenges, right? Or did we not do the clock one?
The clock one was closed.
That's right. It broke
down. So we didn't get to do that. We did that last time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to wear my boot ears. So I was very excited about that.
Yes.
I did.
Explain the Boo ears. They're
So they're the ghosts, Boo. And I can't remember.
they're kind of like Mickey Mouse ears where you've got two of them. And
one is winking and the other one's smiling, I think.
well, the one is where he's coming to get you, like in the games. And if you look at Boo, he hides his face. And so the other side is him hiding his face. So it's the two different aspects of Boo where he's...
I did not know that.
Really? Yeah. If you face Boo in any of the Mario games,
Right.
he'll hide his face and
Yeah.
not look. And that's what's going on with the ears.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I
what's
get it
going
now.
on.
I get it. So I was really excited for the ears because our boys, one got a hat last time and one got the toad ears or mushroom ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought they were so cute. So I was like, okay, since it's my birthday the day before, I was like, I'm going to buy that. Yeah. So we had a lot of fun doing the challenges. And then we did what's the last one called? Bowser
the
Jr.?
Bowser Jr. something.
So we all did that. And that was a lot of fun again.
They're clever little games that they make.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
And then it was time for lunch. And I got the Luigi's chicken sandwich with pesto again because it's so good.
Yeah, I think I got the same thing.
And you got the same.
Yep.
And our youngest got spaghetti
Mm-hmm.
because the mushroom soup that he wanted was out.
I know. He really wanted mushroom
was so
soup for
bummed
some reason.
him. He really wanted the mushroom soup, and it came in a mushroom soup
souvenir
dish
bowl.
too. And I was like, fine,
Like toadstool bowl.
I will get that for you. And they're like, we're out of that soup. And I was like, okay, so what do you want instead? Nothing. Well, you have to eat. So he did eat the spaghetti and he liked that. And then this time for dessert, because the last time we got the
Princess
peach cupcake.
Cupcake, yeah.
And
And we got the Mount Beanpole
there we go.
Cake.
Yes. And so this time we got the tiramisu ?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's a fun...
Presentation is just so great. Sometimes it tastes better just because it looks so good.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a really cool restaurant to eat in.
Then we went on Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge again.
And this time I had my wristband. I will point out that I beat you at every single gamified game on this trip, which does not normally happen.
I know.
It is
I've
such
lost
a good...
my touch.
That Mario Kart ride, though, is the best gamified ride that I have ever been on. It beats out Toy Story Mania. It beats out Spider-Man. It beats out Buzz Lightyear, Astro Blasters. It is such a good mix of AR using the glasses. The field of vision's a little bit low, but mixing the elements of like an actual dark ride, because if you take the glasses off, the scene like where they do Rainbow Road, that's all actually lighting up and stuff. And most of the effects are practical, but it mixes some of the digital with that gamified version. It's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good ride. And a tip that I learned, and I think I did better not knowing this tip though, is that how you move your head is where you shoot your shells. I had been turning my car for where to shoot my shells, and I beat you when I played that way.
Yeah, I did Google a bunch of tips before going in. Like you can maximize your coins if you drift just right, and you can...
now you tell me.
You can press your accelerator at 2, like in Mario Kart, to get a boost.
Okay, you did tell me
beginning.
that one. But yeah, I should apparently be researching stuff before we go.
We went and did the Mummy after that.
Yes.
And you disliked that.
Yes, very much so. Because you do the whole ride forwards and then you do the whole ride backwards. Oh, it was awful. My eyes were closed the whole time. Our oldest went with me. And he was trying to do a play-by-play so I wouldn't be so scared. And I think also so that he wasn't so scared.
It's really fun. It's an indoor roller coaster, so it feels a little like Space Mountain to me.
Yeah. And then you and our oldest went on because our youngest is too short. He couldn't go on it. And then you and our oldest went on it. And I thought for sure oldest was going to be like, I'm not going to go. And then he's like, yes, I can't wait. And so I'm like,
yeah, he loved it.
His fear of rides is
it's
going away.
It's a dark ride
great.
too. Like at the end, technically, if you're following along the storyline, which is easy to miss, your soul gets taken by the mummy. That's how the ride ends.
Yeah, except our oldest didn't miss that.
No.
He got it. Can something go over your head, please?
Yeah.
Please?
And then we did our favorite.
I got to watch, was it Bluey in the waiting room? I can't remember what was on. But our youngest did not want to leave that room. Whatever show was on, he was just enthralled.
Yeah, it was some movie, I think, but I can't remember.
And then we had to do one of the top things in the park, which we'll go over later too. But the studio tour.
The studio tour.
And this time our youngest stayed awake.
The whole time.
Yeah.
We got to see them filming something, which I've never seen. Like they had sound stages open, which was really cool. So we could see in and see some of the sets. And we saw them actively filming probably a commercial of some kind on one of the sets. And that was cool.
And you were also wearing your Nope sweatshirt.
Yes. I got one of my favorite pieces of merch. There was a lot of really good like 90s themed merch that I really wanted. But I settled on a studio tour hoodie that features Nope. The movie Nope, which is one of my favorites. And it's got the Jupiter's Claim, like big balloon on the front and then a big graphic on the back. I love it. Then we finally did Silly Happy Funland, which our kids had been clamoring for. It was fine. We definitely made them avoid the water park area because we were not going to deal with that. They were begging.
It was also cooler that day. I think it like maybe hit 60.
It's a Despicable Me themed land. And so there's like a ride that's kind of like Dumbo. And there's a lot of carnival games, which is a point of contention with our family. The kids really wanted to do it. It was like $18 to do.
Yes.
One game to potentially not win. Which is shocking because we can go play a $5 game at Disneyland with a for sure win of a prize. And so we convinced them to do that later on instead.
So the one thing with the Hilton is that you can stay one night and they will let you park in their parking garage until closing of the park the next day. If you go over that at all, you will pay $15.
Which ultimately isn't terrible.
But the Dutch woman that I am, we decided that due to traffic, because we were going to head to Disneyland that night, that we had better eat dinner in Universal. And it was probably like 5:15 at this point.
I didn't think we were going to make it.
We were about to leave the park and I was like, you know what? We had better just eat here because otherwise I don't know where we're going to get food for our children. And so we went back to the Three Broomsticks and we got dinner there. It was fine. It wasn't great this time. I felt like the last time we ate there was really good. This time, I don't know if it's just because we were rushed.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't taste the food. I had bangers and mash. I had peas. I had sausage. I had gravy. I had cabbage. Did I say sausage and mashed potatoes already?
Yeah.
I've never eaten that so fast in my entire life. I would not be able to tell you how it tasted because I don't know.
The drink, you can tell us how it tasted.
The drink was not very good.
Yeah.
Now, I felt like having another, like a cold butter beer because I never had just the regular soda version, but they had a new drink called the Fishy Green Ale. And I thought, that sounds terrible, but I need to try this. So I got the Fishy Green Ale, which is a non-alcoholic drink. And I was anticipating my children trying it, but no go on that one.
Fishy, I think, kind of threw them off.
It was an apple mint drink, and it had popping boba in it that were kind of like fish eggs.
Ugh.
It was not very good. It was different. It was fun. They took a swing at something unique, and it was a miss, but they tried something different. But it could have been that I drank it so darn quickly.
No,
actually, I think tasted better the faster I drank it.
I tasted it too, and it was not good.
Yeah. So anyway, 5 out of 5 on that one.
And then our youngest and I, we shared the fish and chips. And I think that's what we got the time before too. And it was fine.
Yeah.
So, and then we made our oldest eat chicken fingers and he was not having it, but it came with grapes.
Yep.
And so we bribed him with the grapes. And so he ate like 2 chicken fingers. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, that's good.
And that restaurant, it really is, the atmosphere is the nicest part about it. I do enjoy the food, but
yes,
except
I think I picked the worst table in the entire restaurant.
It's pretty wobbly.
We had one light above our table.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the restaurant is very dim. And then we had like this bright light above our table. And I felt like we were on a stage. And our oldest, we no longer buy them souvenirs. They get an allowance each month. And if they want a souvenir or something like that, they are required to save their money to buy what they want. And so our oldest had bought a pygmy puff. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a pygmy puff. He's never read the books.
Yeah.
They're not in the movies. He's never seen the movies.
He just thought it was so cute and he had to have it. And I said, okay, fine. He's like, don't you love it? No, I do not love it. But why don't you love it? I have no idea what it is. I'm probably honest to a fault with him. And so he was just oohing and ahhing over his pygmy puff throughout dinner. And I'm like, eat your food. We have to get out of here. So you scarfed down your food. You were out of there by 5:45.
Burning.
Did you walk or run?
I'd say probably like a power walk.
Okay. Got back to the hotel, grabbed the car, pulled it out of the parking garage in time to not have to pay the $15.
Perfect timing too, because as I was pulling out of the hotel, you all were walking up at that exact moment. You hopped in the car, and we drove down to our hotel near Disneyland.
Yes.
It was a long trip because the traffic was terrible, but we made it.
I think it took twice the amount of time that it would have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So we followed Google Maps to try to get us there a little quicker. And I don't know that it really worked, but we had a good time at Universal. And with that, we are now going to each do our top 5.
Yeah. These are our top 5 things from Universal Studios Hollywood.
And not just this trip, just in general.
Just in general.
These are our top 5.
You want to start or you want me to start?
Are you doing lowest to highest, highest to lowest,
I'm
or
starting
no
with 5.
particular order?
I'm starting with 5, but the order could be interchangeable.
Because I feel like I cannot order mine.
Sure. In no particular order. Starting with number 5.
I can't pick a favorite.
Okay, let's start. We'll start with number 5 in no particular order. Our top 5 favorite things at Universal Studios. Mario Kart Bowser Challenge. I said it before, this may be my absolute favorite dark ride I've ever been on. Mm-hmm. And it is absolutely my favorite gamified ride that I've been on. Everything from the line, the music, like the immersion, everything, using new technology for the AR version of it. And it actually being a game where you have to conserve resources and yeah, there's a lot to it, and I really, really, really love it.
And that you're also competing against the other people in your car.
Yep.
Too. So it's not just like a fun ride of like, oh, what's going to happen? But it's like there's a competition too.
And if you have the power-up band, it ties into your overall score while you're in the park too.
Yeah.
So it is a top-notch experience. So that's my number 5.
So I will just say that one too so that we don't come back to it later. But yes, that is on my list. I absolutely love that ride. That is, I think that's my favorite ride at Universal
Really?
Studios.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What's your number 4 then?
Are the challenges in Super Nintendo World. So there's 4 different challenges. And if you complete them, and you have the power up band, then you are able to do the Bowser Jr. challenge as well. And some of the challenges, you do need the family to work together. There's a clock one specifically where there's 12 clocks, I think.
You're shutting off alarm clocks. So
you're shutting off alarm clocks, and it is impossible to do by yourself. There's another one where there's a wall of 2 different colors, either yellow or blue, and you're trying to change all the wall blocks to one color. It is impossible to do by yourself. There's another one where you're yerking something to try to make the, what is that
Goomba.
thing? Pumbaa?
Goomba. Not Pumbaa. Different park.
The Goomba fall. And our youngest is not strong enough, so I had to do it for him.
I lost my power-up band on that one because I was going too fast. Flew right off my arm.
So it's just a lot of fun. And then the Bowser Jr. challenge, as long as someone in your group has gotten, was it 3 of the 4 challenges, then all of you can go and do it together. And so you don't have to have a power band to do that. So it's just fun because you're all working together as a team. So I love it.
All right, my number 4 is I put Grinchmas and then / characters. It's a completely different experience from Disney parks. Disney parks characters are top-notch, fantastic. Grinchmas specifically, at least what we saw, they really came out. But Universal characters are sarcastic and they're funny. It is a whole different experience, but it's a really good one. And it's nice to have a little bit of variety in that.
Okay, number 3.
Number 3.
I'm sticking with Super Nintendo World, and I'm going to Toadstool Cafe.
Yeah, I kind of cheated on one of mine, so I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, Toadstool Cafe.
I love that restaurant. The food isn't phenomenal. but it is good. And Universal food is different than Disneyland. Like, I don't like Universal food near as much as Disneyland. And so Toadstool Cafe for the food at Universal is really, really good.
And I would say their presentation is on par with Disney there.
Yes. Yeah. Because I get the Luigi burger and it comes with a little Luigi hat stuck in it and Luigi's mustache burned on the bun.
My number 3 is something you haven't experienced yet. It is the Waterworld stunt show.
Oh,
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's weird that it's stuck around this long for a really big blockbuster flop. It's really good. It is that good.
yeah.
And so if we go, that is top priority if we end up going again before our passes run out.
You want to say number 2 first?
My number 2, and this is sort of the cheat here. It is the immersion stretch that Universal Studios has been doing in the last few years to try to catch up with Disneyland. They've always been an okay park, but I think it started with Simpsons Land and then into Hogsmeade and Super Mario World. They are bringing people into the lands and it's no longer, they're not creating experiences that are just like throwing people into things, but you are now in the midst of the stories. And Super Mario World does it with their challenges and their games and Mario Kart Challenge. Wizarding World of Harry Potter has the wands and the whole storylines. It's really cool. Also, I found out this is apparently like a big hush hush thing, and it doesn't happen frequently, but there are secret passwords that the cast members have in Hogwarts or in Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
If you can get them to give you that password, which they do not give out frequently, and you tell a cast member at the Forbidden Forest or Forbidden Journey ride, you go straight to the front of the line.
Whoa.
There are magic passwords, kind of like in Harry Potter, where you have passwords to get into secret rooms.
Yeah.
So every day there's a secret password. And if you can somehow get that secret password, you have access to the front of the line.
Not that I really care because I don't like that ride, but
Still, it's a cool idea. It's another bit of immersion,
Yeah.
which I think is really neat.
yeah. Okay, my number 2 is Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade, because that's what you told me it was called. So I'm trusting you. I kind of broke out Super Nintendo World because I needed 5 things.
Yeah.
And then I'm out of room. So my number 2 is just that whole land and everything there. Like you were saying, just the immersion and the experiences. And it's just great. You get to experience something completely different.
I think our number 1 is probably both the same, would be my guess.
Studio
and that
tour?
is the croissant. Oh, no, yeah. I've got the studio tour as well, is my number 1. And it always has been my favorite ever since I was a kid.
I don't know what I was expecting with it, but I did not expect to love it. And I loved it. I don't love parts of it, like the Fast and the Furious. I don't do well with screens. It makes me really motion sick. And so I had my eyes closed for all of that. And I think I was covering our youngest ears for that whole thing. I like the rest of it.
And it's changed throughout the years, and it's always been pretty cool. There's been constants that they keep, things that they change, like that airplane crash scene is fairly new to me.
Oh, okay.
The Nope scene is really new, and I'm really glad it's there because it's cool. You get to go see the Star Rodeo Ranch or whatever it is.
Except you do get very bugged when our oldest will not stop asking.
He's
after
8 years old.
Both times that we have gone on the studio tour afterwards, he will not stop asking what Nope is
He
about.
wants every single plot detail, and I cannot wait to watch that movie with him because it really is. It's one of my favorite movies, but he can't watch it. He can't see that movie right now. He had a panic attack when he watched The Twilight Zone, the old one.
So that's a wrap for our recap on our 1.5 days at Universal Studios.
Yep.
Another good trip in the books. Highly recommend the Hilton. Book through AAA if you want a discount.
Next episode, we're going to be doing... No, how are we doing it? Disneyland and California Adventure is all going to be one episode?
I don't know that we've decided.
Okay.
I kind of think we're going to have to split it out because I don't think we can get through all of that.
With a top 5 list, too. All right, we'll talk about the next parks next time. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us on all of our social medias at OfMiceandMatterhorns, except on Twitter/X, where we are at MiceMatterhorns. Feel free to drop us a line at ofmiceandmatterhorns@gmail.com. Thank you so much. And as always, have a Disney day.
Your attention, please. Of Mice and Matterhorns has now ended its normal operating episode. We thank you for your visit to our podcast and hope that the memories that you made We'll bring you back soon.